Good morning,
Go
good
grab
day,
yourself a
good
drink if you want.
evening, good night, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. Welcome to the BItaxe Townhall. We're writing the Townhall number 45. I'm One Clue, your host, and I'm happy to be here. Today, we have Scott back again with us on the stage. Hey, Scott, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Good to be here. Thanks for running this number 45. That's legendary.
It quite adds up over the time, I need to say. And just before we started the recording of the town hall, I was saying that I kind of forgot about today's town hall because I was so busy with tinkering around and doing a little bit of fuffo. And yeah, here we are, town hall
Well,
number 45.
what
Lots of
what
things
were
going
you
on.
what were you finding out about? I know you said earlier, but maybe now for the recording. It sounds pretty exciting.
Um, so the nerd hakes, for everybody who's not knowing about it, it's a design created by Brella91 here in the OSMU Discord. And it's
So in the
basically,
audience,
he's in the audience, which is fantastic.
shout
And
out.
definitely. And it's a board with 6 chips on it. Think about the Nerd QX with the BM1360 chips. But now instead of 4, you have 6 chips. So way more amperage, way more wattage, and way more cooling. And I burned one board, sadly. Or at least the A6. I burned the A6. Because apparently I used a millimeter too less clearance on contact between the ASIC and the heatsink, and it zerped a little bit, was like bzz, bzz, and it was dead.
Oof. Oof. So my quick, my quick math says that that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 amps, which my calculator says is 115 millimeters track width. How are you dealing with that much current? That's nuts.
I mean, I don't know. I just received 3 boards. He built them for me because I sent him over the parts, and he was like, "Yeah, well, I'd love to help you out with that," because I wanted to do a little bit of testing on these boards, and because I do know that I'm sometimes stupid, I was like, "Well, yeah, let's do 3 instead of just 1. If I do something wrong, then the only board that I do have is broken." So I was like, "Yeah, let's do 3 of these boards," and he helped me out, which is fantastic. So that's really a great thing here.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
when it comes to the amperage and dealing with that, I mean, I haven't dig too much into the schematics and everything else. I mean, I'm not a pro when it comes to hardware designs. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out plenty of things, but I do see myself every time I try to create a small keycap project. I'm always going back to YouTube, and I was like, keycut basics for beginners. Give me the best video.
And then your videos come up.
Yeah, yeah, sort of. I mean, a couple of things are unknown to me. So at least things like changing something on the silk screen. That's not really anything that is too complicated. But other things like how do you properly design the PCB so that if you add more parts to it, it will not increase the design overall, and so on. There are some tricky things about KiCad, and if you don't have, or if you're not used to it, you need to look up these things multiple times before you recognize them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, it's CAD software is always sort of notoriously complicated. And it just kind of takes some poking around and, you know, doing it a number of times so that you just kind of remember all the obscure commands and sort of order of operations, like what you need to do first, that kind of thing. I've spent a lot
Yeah,
of time in KiCad this last 2 weeks working on stuff, and I just got to say I'm very thankful for this program. It's really cool. It's obviously not perfect, and it's some stuff is pretty awkward, but man, free, open source. I really appreciate that project. And
it's a fantastic program. Yeah, indeed.
fun fact, a while back, this was over a year ago, but OSMU actually donated to KiCad to support that project.
Sure, I do remember that something was going on there, but is that already over a year ago?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Oh my goodness.
Time flies. They it was kind of interesting. We Ben sort of initiated this, and I was all about it, and contacted them because they don't, they list on keycad.org, they list various ways to donate to the project, but they don't have anything, where they accept Bitcoin. And being as we are on a Bitcoin standard over here, we're like, hey, can we donate in Bitcoin? And they like come back immediately and they're like, no, we do not accept cryptocurrency. That's a scam, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh man, that's really unfortunate. I actually think Bitcoin is not a scam. It's kind of the best thing ever. And they're like, well, you know what? We do have this one guy. He's a lead developer and he's really into that Bitcoin thing. So you can donate to him directly. And so that's what we did.
Nice.
It was cool to, I don't know. It was cool to support that, to support KeyCAD. I obviously get a lot of value out of it. I think the community does too.
I mean, it's a fantastic program. You can just simply download it and open up the files, and then you get overwhelmed by everything that you do see on it. And then after a while, if you watched about 40 to 50 hours of YouTube videos, you finally understand what the heck is going on in the program. But if you're at that point, yeah, it's a fantastic program.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It does have a bit of a learning curve, but
definitely. I mean, unfortunately, I don't have enough time to do that because I'm too busy with other parts. And apparently, the pull requests on ESP Miner repo are not getting less; they are getting more and more, and I can't keep up with it. And Mutatrum is also doing lots of reviews on it, but it seems like both of us are not quite capable of handling everything at the same time. But yeah, I mean, it's an open source project that we're doing here, and if it takes time, it takes time, and we're not in any pressure. So if a release takes 2 months, it takes 2 months.
There you go. Yeah, it's better to do a good job than to just, rush to merge stuff without really thinking about the implications and stuff. But on that front, you've been doing an amazing job. I still get notifications on all the PRs and all the comments for ESP Miner, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot going on. So huge shout out to you for tackling all those things.
I'm trying my best. But one thing that is in particular really amazing is like always seeing that there is this, I'd like to call it a symbiosis between the ESP Miner project and the NerdX project, which PMax is building. And we're always trying to make sure that everything works hand in hand. And sometimes he's delivering features and then we are implementing them. And sometimes it's the other way around, where we do implement features and then he gets them in his project as well, which is so fantastic to see. I mean, there are a couple of things that we will probably not implement in ESP Miner that he does have, but it's also the other way around, which is great. But still, both of these derivatives, so both of these projects work hand in hand together, which is so amazing. I mean, he just released 2 days ago a new release for the version 1.0.33, which is his last release at the moment. And yeah, he was playing a lot around with the hashrate registers on the ASIC chips, primarily on the BM1366, 68, and the 70s. And he's now using that for his primary source of showing the hash rate, which is kind of interesting. I mean, there are lots of things going on, and the reverse engineering on this register, shout out to CTCR here, was quite fantastic. And it's quite a bummer that we hadn't had done this for quite a while. I mean, for the BItaxe, we're also working on it. Mutatrum already opened up the pull request. He is his pull request is about the BM1370, so we still need to do the BM1368 and the 66. But yeah, it takes time. Apart from that, it's a nice thing, especially if you want to have something that is an expected hash rate and not only this share-based or luck-based hash rate. I talked about this on the last town hall, how we actually calculate the hash rate on the ESP Miner project and how we should do it. I don't think there is a need for a change in that and how we're doing it currently, because there's fluctuation in the hash rate that is normal. I mean, sure, if we're reading out the register and if we're eliminating all the errors that we can read from the nonces, then there's not that much fluctuation going on. But using this luck-based hash rate is, I think, the most accurate that we can give, especially if we think about that we're solo mining here.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, the symbiosis between the two projects is fantastic, right? This is how open source wins. Is lots of people coming together with different ideas and different ways of tackling problems. So that's fantastic to see. Regarding the hash rate register, I was just thinking, does Bitmain even do this with their firmware on their
I
own
think
chip?
they're just using the hash rate register. They're not doing the luck-based hash rate in the way
Are
we're
you sure
doing
about
it.
that?
I
I don't know if I've
I mean, take a look on the hash rate they do provide. That does not seem anywhere close to be luck-based, because I mean, with luck-based hash rate, you instantly see, if we're taking a look on a statistics of 48 to 36 or 48 to 72 hours, you can see there are a couple of hours of primary downtime when it comes to the hash rate. You do see this fluctuation quite heavy, especially on 1 or 2 chips. Even on the hex with 6 chips, you do see this. But if you take a look on the S21, S19, S17, any of these devices that Bitmain is shipping, there's close to nothing in fluctuation, which comes pretty close to what the register is giving out from a response.
I feel like I've looked at the serial, yeah, like what K1 said, they can have long averaging windows, and also
That's true. Yeah.
they have 300 chips to get. So I think they have the same ticket mask as us. The sort of chip share difficulty, but they also have 300 chips. So they're getting significantly more samples than us. So it would,
That's for sure.
if they were doing the sort of the luck based hash rate calculation, then it would be smoother, as they would have essentially oversampling it.
I mean,
I've looked a lot at the
this,
serial data, and I'm not sure I've seen it, but that doesn't mean they're not doing it. I don't really know.
I mean, yeah, to conclude that, maybe it's wrong to say no, they use the hash rate register and not the luck-based vector, maybe. But on the other hand, we haven't built a miner with 300 chips, so we can't really tell.
That's true. That's
Yet.
true. Yet. I think that if we have a pretty good confidence that the hash rate register is correct and we're interpreting those values in the register correctly, which sounds like what PMax has done and what K1 has looked into. It sounds like it's correct. I mean, I think that'd be a great way to go for us, because then you could essentially have the ticket mask be difficulty 1 instead of like 256 or whatever we're using. And then you wouldn't have to deal with all those nonces being returned. I think someone even proposed that we could essentially set, the pool difficulty as the chip difficulty or somewhere close.
Yeah, Mutachum said that. Sure, we can do that. It's a thing. Do we want to do that? Do we actually want to change the value on the difficulty on the AC chip level? Or do we want to keep it at a constant level?
I don't know if we'd want to
put a little bit of thoughts going into that.
Yeah. I don't know if we'd want to put it to whatever the pool difficulty is, because that kind of changes. But we could set it to something much higher than 256, right? We could set it to like 2048 or something really easily and get a lot less share.
That would reduce the noise that we do send over the serial lines. So
yeah, I think that'd be pretty neat. I also think that we do need to have a timeout on shares from the chip. So we'd want to set some sort of value there where we can, if the chip has gone like zombie, like just isn't responding anymore, we want to have a high enough share rate so that we can notice that it's gone zombie in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, basically, that would go hand in hand into the health monitoring system that we have talked multiple times about.
Yeah, I think
Can
so.
we please have like 20 more developers and like, I don't know, 6 weeks of time, no main work?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have enough vacation on my main job to do that. Sorry. If you start doing register reads at all, you get some communication heartbeat that wasn't present before. Yeah, K1 is correct about that. Like, doing it with the register reads is a fantastic way of actually doing this heartbeat on the AC chip itself. I mean, the biggest bummer, or I don't like to call it that way, but there are a not non-significant amount of people who are reporting that they do have this flat line of hash rate. So it's not a significant amount of people, but it's a amount of people that it is not non-significant. So
Yeah.
it's quite a tricky thing. None of us developers has ever managed to reproduce this flat line. So we don't know how to deal with that or how it occurs or what exactly is going on. It could be poor build quality. It could be a defective ASIC chip itself. It could be extensive overclocking or other things. So yeah, having something like a heartbeat that would give us some sort of more insight into the system itself, that we can see these brownout scenarios like K1 is writing in the chat here, that would be fantastic. I mean, there are things going into that. The heart or health monitoring system has been worked on, but it will probably take quite a while because there are so many things changing. Like web UI is changing basically every single day. Then we do have so many refactors when it comes to the backend as well. We have new features. Lately the BAP, now the hashrate register, and now we also do have IPv6 on the BItaxe, which is upcoming in the next release, the version 2.11.0. So yeah, there are plenty of things that are constantly changing. So implementing a new thing is quite tricky, especially if it is something that needs to be worked throughout the entire system. And then there are other things, like we're getting close into the position at the moment with ESP Miner, where we basically allocate, I'd like to say, a little bit too much of the internal memory. We have PSRAM, which is a second memory memory layer that we can use on the ESP32. We have that enabled, but we only use that for a fraction of what we could use it for. If you take a look on the NodeX device and the firmware, how it uses PSRAM over there, basically everything is in PSRAM, except for a couple of core principles like NVS reads and writes. But it's quite a tricky thing. We need to move over more stuff into this sort of RAM instead of using the internal one. So yeah, implementing new things is kind of tricky, especially if we're now getting closer into the section of we should slow down on implementing new things and giving the device new features.
Yeah, I agree. Like sometimes some of these features are like cool to have, but we can't forget about the main purpose here, which is just to reliably hash, right? If we have BItaxes out there in the field that are stopping for whatever reason, that adds up, right? There's a lot of BItaxes out there, so we don't want to have them stopping hashing when we could be restarting or getting them running again. If we're trying to find more blocks, which I think everyone is, then the more often your BItaxe is running, the better.
I mean, yeah, for sure. And this also goes hand in hand with every single other derivate. I mean, on the NodeX devices, there is basically a monitoring for the communication with the pool. If anything goes off there, the device will reset, which is kind of nice. Maybe we should do something similar on our device, but I was thinking about the health system for the BItaxe to be a little bit more thoughtful of everything. So that will be quite a huge task, to be honest. And that brings back the primary issue of, well, if we implement such a new feature, we need to make sure the device can even handle that. And currently, we don't have that much memory left to be used on the BItaxe itself.
Yeah, I think that that sort of health monitoring thing, right? You can imagine a situation where the pool is still connected, like there's still, the socket's still open, it hasn't closed, but for whatever reason, the pool just isn't sending new work. That can happen. We've seen that happen before, and in that situation, we could drop down to the fallback pool. But if the fallback pool also stops sending shares because of the same weird network problem, then there isn't a whole lot we can do. We can, continually be trying to restart to figure it out. But I think also, showing something on the BItaxe display, showing something on the AxeOS dashboard in the hopes that, someone will realize that their BItaxe isn't hashing anymore would be a cool thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I said, there are a lot of things that needs to go into thought if we're doing that and how we want to do that. It's been worked on, but sometimes other features are a little bit more important. Like you want to make sure that any bugs are resolved as quick as possible. And
Yes.
one of the nicest things that we do have with, for example, the hashrate register is we can finally boost the self-test into a position. I was playing around with that into a position where it can be used reliably for every single manufacturer. I mean, currently the state of the self-test is, not to speak about it in a bad way, but more or less a joke. You cannot really use that reliably to tell that your BItaxe is 100% doing what it's supposed to do, because it can be luck based on what is exactly happening with the AC chip. But now that we can use, for example, the hashrate register, we can change the self-test to be 100% reliable, or let's say 90%, which is way more than what we had before. And we can also, in general, just improve the self-test, which, in my mind, if we do that, is helping basically everybody. Because if we improve the self-test and manufacturers start to use that more frequently, then we can make sure, even though we do not have anything to do with these manufacturers, that they at least try their best to produce the BItaxe in the best possible way. I mean, still, you can't do anything about any sort of manufacturer who's giving half an ounce to the BItaxe. I mean, yeah, do that, but you're going to run into trouble.
Yeah, there's always going to be shit tier manufacturers, but I agree that, improving the self-test is a great idea to the extent that we can make it more complete, better test coverage. I think the better. Both for manufacturers and for users that are having problems and want to run through the self-test themselves. So making sure the tests are more complete and that we more accurately show, what the problem is, so that someone can be like, oh, my ASIC isn't returning nonces, right? Because it got cracked, right? Like stuff like that happens. So more of those debugging things to help sellers more quickly diagnose problems with BItaxes and things like that. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the way how it needs to go. I mean, if we cannot do anything about them, then we need to change what they are using. And luckily, we can do that because we built this shit here.
That's right. We, as in all of us.
We, as in all of us, for sure.
EDU says, "Yo, Scott, any new info on the new Bitmain ASIC?" No, new info. We're kind of just waiting for Bitmain to release the S23. In a bit of a holding pattern until we can get some idea of the register layout there.
It's probably pretty similar to what we do know, but there are some magic bits that are missing, probably.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I built a BItaxe GT form factor miner with the new chips, and it's hashing, but not very well. So it does seem like there's something missing there. But I'm just pretending it's a BM1370 when I configure it. And we've seen different initialization procedures for all the chips. So I have no doubt that there's something different going on in the 1340 that we need to do. But yeah, until we can get someone who has one of those machines to put a logic analyzer on it, or get a hold of a debug firmware that Nebula can reverse engineer, it gets tough to figure out exactly what's going on.
It's quite a task to do, quite a lot of work that we need to make sure that these devices are actually doing. I mean, in the end, we're trying to get the magic sauce out of these devices and then try to reproduce it in a miniature form factor. So it's
Yeah, on
quite
one
a
hand,
funny thing if you think about it.
yeah, on one hand, it's annoying to not have any idea what the specification is for these chips, but on the other hand, it's kind of fun. It's like a treasure hunt.
I mean, one
Maybe
thing
this
that I'm
is-
primarily more interested into, and don't get me wrong, I don't think that the new ASIC chip is less important, but like what's going on with Proto? Like, are there any news? Like they launched the product, and I was like, yeah, okay, cool. It's not really that kind of open source that we anticipated it to be, and now it's kind of quiet. Like I don't hear anything about it.
I haven't heard anything either. They promised to get me some chips, and so far that hasn't happened. I don't really know what's going on there. I don't think they're backtracking on their open source commitments or their commitments to supply chips to the community. I think they're probably just busy, especially now that they announced it. Right now, they gotta now the clock is ticking, I guess, to get this going. But yeah, I got to hit up my guy again. Be like, let's get some of those chips.
Yeah, man, we need them. Like, what the heck is going on?
Yes, we do need them. We do need them. It would be really cool to see. It's a really interesting looking chip, and of course, having a data sheet for it is pretty fantastic because we can use it properly. Yeah, man, I think it'll still happen. It's going a little slower than I would love, but still plenty of interesting things to do, especially around the Intel chips. Been screwing around with those a lot lately.
Oh, are you?
Yes. I built well, and I think I've told everyone this before, but the Intel chips use 9-bit serial, which is super non-standard.
Yeah.
It's not really compatible with the ESP miner or the ESP32's serial peripheral. It can't natively do 9-bit serial. So something needs to happen. I've been talking with K1 a bunch about some different options there. I think we probably do need to put a sidecar microcontroller in there to sort of convert 8-bit serial to 9-bit serial and back. Figuring out how to do that. I'm actually working on a development version of like a miner, like basically just a USB miner with the Intel chips, just so some of these people who are committed to working on the firmware side of things for the Intel chips can keep going. I should have that out pretty soon. It'll be just a real basic USB miner, no ESP32 on it. It'll have a RP2040, which can do 9-bit serial, and 4 chips, and we can get those out to people who are working on firmware so they can keep going. Should be pretty cool. There also some interesting designs, or design ideas, I should say, for modular miners with Intel chips, for cost reduced versions of miners with Intel chips. One of the things is we've got access to these chips for free, lots of them for free. So making a low cost miner would be pretty cool. Not having to pay $30 a chip would be nice. Obviously, these chips aren't as performant as the BM1370, quite a bit less hash rate and quite a bit less efficiency, but still worthwhile. K1 just posted a picture of his module. He's working on a really cool, like just a modular board. It's got 2 Intel chips on it and some headers and an interface to deal with this 9-bit serial. And then you could slap these things into a like a carrier board and start screwing around with it. I think that would be pretty cool. K1, when are you gonna when are you gonna start shipping this? We're ready.
Soon TM.
Oh, ordering today. All right. Soon TM. That'll be cool to screw around with for sure.
I bet he's gonna do that in Rust. If he's gonna do any sort of firmware on it.
I think he's gonna do it in Rust.
You don't?
That's where I'd put my money on. I do. He's definitely going to do it in Rust. I'm sure that's what he's typing right
100%. Now. He's now typing something like, "Of course I'm doing it in Rust. What do you think?" Firmware for the MCU will be in Rust, yeah. See? I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, having access to a bunch of these chips, I hope unleashes a bunch of neat new designs that people can screw with. I know Tyler
I still
Stevens
need to play around with them as well. Like, I mean, it's unfortunate that there is this weird thing with the SHA-256 Foundation where they are not allowed to ship that outside of the US. Like, what the heck? I don't get it.
Yeah, the sort of directive from the people who donated all the chips was that they are only to be sent to people in the US. It's a US company. They, for whatever reason, that's what they said. And we don't want to violate that. Yeah, I mean, they have a lot more chips basically. And so we want to make sure that we have access to a lot more chips if needed. So we don't want to violate that right now. I think that this is a temporary thing. We're not going to forget about the rest of the world. Obviously, we very much need and want developers all around the world working on this. So we'll get that sorted out. Absolutely. Do not worry.
Well, I'm currently thinking about like what else is there to talk about. I don't know. I'm a little bit tired today, so it's was quite a busy week.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
good, like busy in a good way.
No, busy in a bad way. Way too much stuff. Like also working on my own miner, and so yeah.
Well, at least it's busy because you're working on good stuff.
I hope so. That's at least what I do hope. But in the end, everything's gonna be all right, and we just keep going.
It's what we can do. That's pretty fun, right? I mean, there's stressful times, but in the end, we could be doing some fiat work or some shitcoinery or something. So I think this is a good field to be involved in.
I mean, one thing that I'm clearly seeing in the last couple of weeks is like there's, which is quite interesting. Over the course of a year, you do see this regularly, and over a course of like 4 years, when we're talking about cycles that we usually do have in Bitcoin, it's quite interesting that the interest in Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining in general is like close to nothing at the moment compared to what it was half a year ago.
It comes and goes for sure.
Yeah.
It comes and goes. People are into it for a lot of different reasons, I guess. And also, I mean, I don't know if the sort of Bitcoiners' interest has waned or sort of the Bitcoin developers' interest has waned, but always the discourse on Bitcoin Twitter changes quite a bit. Kind of, I don't know. It's like that meme. Like it's all so tiresome sometimes to follow Bitcoin Twitter. But yeah, I don't know. Didn't the price just go back up?
I'm not following that.
Yeah, I mean
Probably.
either. For some reason, though, I had a little like on my phone. I had a little Bitcoin price thing on my lock screen, and it's just disappeared. So
I
maybe that's a
still
sign.
do. I still do have a do-it-yourself kit of the BTC clock. I think I keep saying that for now over a year. I still need to build that damn thing.
Oh
And I
my gosh, you and me
promised,
too. Oh,
yeah,
I got one too. Maybe we should like live stream it or do something like that because I have one too, and it was very graciously given to me, and I feel bad because every time I see the creator, he's like, "How's it going?" I'm like, "Oh man, it's on my desk. I'm
yeah,
waiting to
it's
build
basically the
it."
same for me. It's like I do see him from time to time. I mean, he's really close to me, so therefore, I do see him multiple times. I'd say per year. So yeah, and I always get remembered about my device laying around in the corner here. I do have all the parts. I just need to do it.
I just need
But
to do it too.
it's probably, if I do think about all the things that I do have that I need to solder, it's probably 2 to 3 hours that you need for soldering that.
Ah, it doesn't. It's like it's mostly through hole components and stuff, right? We can do this.
Of course, we can do that. It's just the amount of time that you need, and then it comes down to when can you actually do that. And usually, my time when I can do stuff is either in the middle of the night or very late at the day, because then my son is going to bed and I do have a little bit of me time.
It uses an ESP32, right? The same one, the
It does. It
S3.
does. Wait, let me quickly take a look. I do have it laying around here.
All right, I'm gonna get mine.
We need to play some drama music now in the background, probably, but I don't have anything
I'm so
handy.
embarrassed. Like I got mine uh, at Honey Badger last
Oh,
year. So it's been over a year that this has been sitting on my desk, and I've been procrastinating on putting it together. This is such a cool kit.
it is. And
Oh yeah.
which displays do you have? I think I do have the. I think the displays that I do have are these e-paper displays.
Yeah, mine says 2.13 inch e-paper BTC clock. It actually has the date on it that he tested it, and it's oh my gosh, it's exactly 1 year ago. it's October it's October 5th, 2024 is when they tested this. So
Still looking. Ah, here we go. Got it.
actually maybe it's May. This is like they put the date in a different format. It's probably May 10th.
So I do have black and white displays here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my goodness. And
Some
then
nice
I do
laser
have an
cut
S3
art.
Mini, an ESP S3 Mini.
That's kind of cool. It's not one of the modules. It's like it doesn't have the metal can over it. It looks like it's broken out. That's neat.
It definitely is. And I'm so embarrassed that I haven't thought of that yet. I mean, the thing, I should take a look on the GitHub repository because I do remember, I think that's like almost a year ago that his repository got deleted because of these CoinKite digs who were saying that he stole their idea while it's a completely different product. But anyway,
Yeah, that was kind of lame. That was Didn't it's back up, right? I think that they worked it out.
I think so. He needed to change probably the name or something like that. Let me see.
They I think CoinKite kind of backpedaled on that a little bit, and they're like, "Oh, well, our lawyers said that we need to do this, like protect our trademark and blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And it got me thinking. It's like if you have to do anything because of what your lawyers say, you're not a properly decentralized organization, right? I mean, that's kind of what my thing is with open source is it's out there. It's open source. We do have a license that says what you can and can't do about it, but it's not like my lawyer or your lawyer could dictate which direction the project goes, right? It's if I can't work on this anymore, or if I want to like close source it or something like that, that doesn't change the fact that it's already out there and released. You know what I mean? Like it really is the open source really is the best sort of decentralized way to protect your designs, to get them out there.
I mean, I was just taking a look on his website, which is btclock.store. And if you take a look on source page, he's directly linking over to his self-hosted Forge Joe instead of GitHub, which is quite interesting. And he just published new things like 4 days ago. Insane.
All right.
He's still working on it. Like, nice.
I don't even think there's that many things to solder here. It looks like a lot of screws.
I mean,
some headers. This isn't going to be too bad.
I do have some MCUs on here in my do-it-yourself. Is anything pre-soldered on your kit, or is?
No, I don't think so. Let me
4 LEDs and 4 capacitors. No, 5 capacitors are soldered on my PCB. That's all.
Let's see.
So there's an MCP 23017 ESP that I need to solder on, but you can probably just stick it in here.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mine's the same. I have 4, looks like RGB or just regular LEDs soldered on. Some like 0603 capacitors.
I mean, when are you available? We should do a live stream about that. I don't know about your camera setup, but
I'll figure something out. We can do this.
Yeah. In the middle of the night. At least.
Yeah. We there was some goofball on the internet was saying that he doesn't think I know how to solder. So we could just live stream it.
Yeah, no. Sorry, Scott, but stop joking around. You don't know how to do that.
I don't know how to solder. I just can't figure it out.
Yeah, there are a couple of things going on. But apart from that, I mean, maybe today's town hall is a little bit lame, but to be honest, there's not really that much going on. Apart from obviously new updates when it comes to the NodeX series and BItaxe, we're working on it. I'd say we probably just cooled down, which is good because it gives us a little bit more time to think about features. Like, I think it was 3 days ago that I merged the IPv6 configurability for mining to IPv6 pools, which was quite a thing because I was seeing that issue quite a while ago. And I think the initial issue is from 2024. So it's almost, too old. And I was lately doing some digging through all the issues that we do have. I still need to close some of them without even a comment because we still do have plenty of these issues. Oh, my miner is not working. Yeah, well, it's GitHub. Please, it's not a support forum. I'm sorry, use discussion or anything else. I'm not trying to be mean, but sometimes I leave these issues open and sometimes I just close them without any comments. But primarily I was scooping through all the issues that we do have, and I noticed the issue of like, well, someone was requesting that we can mine over to IPv6 pools or IPv6 addresses. I was thinking, well, that's not that complicated. The ESP, IDF, or Espressif itself does support IPv6 quite well. It is not supported, or it is poorly supported for the HTTP server. So with the next upcoming update for your BItaxe, you can, for example, mine to the CK pool using the IPv6 address of CK pool. But you cannot access your web interface over IPv6 because it's poorly supported, and I didn't want to implement that. It would be quite a mess. It would need to change quite a lot of other things. So the only thing that you can actually do is you can now connect to IPv6 pools if you want to do that. Also, one thing that we probably need to take a look on in one of the next releases will be the SSL thing, or TLS in general, which is way more complicated and needs way more thinking about it. We had lots of discussions about this already. I think there are even there's even a pull request for that already open. But yeah, there are so many things. The point here that I'm trying to make is sometimes it's good if you just take a look through all the issues that we do have and scroll to the very first page of it, or the very last page, however you want to count. And then just take a look on what people requested in the early days. And maybe there's something that we should implement. And that's what I did. And that's how things are moving forward. Like, people are requesting things and you think about it. Is it useful or not? IPv6, totally. I do get it. You don't need it in your local network, but you need to have the option to mine to an IPv6 pool. That's for sure. IPv6 is out there. IPv6 is way better. But at the same time, it is way more complicated. And it's way more confusing for the average Joe out there. So if you don't know what you're doing, just keep it as it is and don't change anything. Because if you do something wrong with IPv6, you could expose things, and you don't want to do that. Unless, and now K1 is probably typing again, you probably configured your firewall. If you don't do it, or if you don't know what you're doing, just leave it as it is. Don't change your running system.
I think IPv6 is rad. I'm excited to give it a try.
Yeah, the current master branch, it's in there, and it's working quite well. I mean, it's working quite well. What did I test? I tested it locally on my Start9 node. I needed to do a little bit of tinkering on how to actually expose the IPv6 of my Start9 node to my public pool instance at home, and yada, yada, yada. That was quite a little bit of a task. But then I got it running and I was able to connect to it to my IPv6 address. And the next thing that I was doing was that I was actually using CK pool. I haven't tested any other pools apart from these two, so obviously it works on my end. But E. Anderson, for example, he also tested it with a local instance as well as with CK pool, and he reported the same. I'm not aware about any other pools that I want to try and test, because usually I'd only want to use solo mining pools and not pools. So yeah, that were the only IPv6 pools that I was testing. But it's working, and that's proven out, at least there for me, that it is a good thing. And someone was requesting it, and it just enlightens me. Like, yeah, sure, why haven't we done this earlier? So here we go. It's in there. Now you can do whatever you want with it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I like that idea of looking through old requests and seeing what we can do. You know, basically everything besides adding an Ethernet port sounds like a good idea to me.
I mean, the Ethernet port itself, there's always this debate. We probably have a couple of people who are out there that are just saying, yeah, well, I need Ethernet on my device. Yeah, probably.
Probably.
I don't know, like for the BItaxe, the ESP32S3 room edition that we do have on it comes with implemented Wi-Fi. And sure, Wi-Fi is one thing. Maybe there are some people out there that will tell you that Wi-Fi is dangerous for you. I don't know. I'm not an expert when it comes to medical conditions, but it could be. I don't know. I use Wi-Fi. And it is fantastic that you can plug it in. You just need an outlet. You plug it in, connect it over Wi-Fi. You don't need an extra cord. adding Ethernet to the BItaxe itself, to break it down into simple terms, is super simple. We could do this. It just, in my opinion, personally, doesn't make sense at the current state that we are in. We have a single chip device, and the benefit of reducing the latency from 20 milliseconds down to 17 milliseconds is not substantial. So if we would talk about like bigger machines, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 chips, sure, these machines, you probably have them somewhere in a barn or somewhere else in a warehouse, in a shelf or something like that, then you probably have more of these devices, and then you don't want to have 2 to 3 different Wi-Fi hotspots because you need to have 700 devices hooked up to your Wi-Fi. Yes, correct. It doesn't make sense. Then you need Ethernet.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be fun from like sort of a geeky perspective to make a power over Ethernet miner, but I don't know. It's just,
Yeah, I mean, just take the BItaxe demo right
wanna...
now. We have the BEP port, and technically speaking, we could do SPI over one of these ports. Maybe we can trick the ESP to use the second port GPIO as well for that. Sure, but as SK1 is writing, you don't need that much. It's isolation transformer, yeah, probably integrated with the jack itself, and you need a MAC and a PHY. It is really that simple. The biggest issue that you do have is if we're talking about clock, because you want to use some sort of clock on these Macs as well. For the PHY, that the Ethernet does use some sort of a serial clock there. That's one thing, but it's not really an issue. So technically speaking, you could use the BEP for it, but you would need to change substantially a couple of things on when it comes to the firmware and how it reacts and how the Ethernet stack or the actual network stack that we do have is implemented. And yeah,
if someone really wants Ethernet, knock yourself out. Go ahead, do it. It's not that hard. K1 just laid it out. There's only 3 things you need. $4 to $6. Boom. Do it. Be the change you want to see in the world.
Tons of area. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's also big.
We have so much room basically on the BItaxe, but think about it, like 20 BItaxes, all of them with a cord. Oof.
Yeah, right. If you have like the bandwidth for Ethernet, it almost just deserves a bigger miner.
And even an S21 or an S23, what are they using? They're using 1 megabyte of bandwidth a day. Like it's not substantial.
No, I've never really looked at it. Clearly, Wi-Fi is just fine. I think it is definitely, it's most appropriate for a small miner like a BItaxe, or even, a nerd hacks even. I think Wi-Fi is just fine. But
yeah,
it's not going to stop. It doesn't stop those like 4 people who are interested in Ethernet from asking about it all the time.
Edo is currently asking what kind of operating system I'm using. So I'm using, it depends. It depends. So I do have 2 notebooks, one that I do hate, one that I do love, but the one that I do love, I don't want to use it anymore because it's not capable enough for what I need to do with it. But the new one that I hate is just a piece of shit. And I need to sell Dell. Fuck you if you hear that. Probably not, but anyway. Talking about it, currently I'm using my main desktop PC and I'm running CachyOS on it, which is a Arch distro based Linux. It runs fantastic. It's like, this was the holy grail for me to finally move everything in my home lab over to Linux, because my desktop PC was the only thing that was left with Windows because I needed to somehow cut my videos. And I wanted to use DaVinci Resolve. And all of the other Linux distros, they were having hiccups and issues and everything else. But CachyOS, boom, installed it, worked. I still need to FFmpeg a couple of my videos over to a different codec for the music, but apart from that, everything works just fine. It's fantastic.
Oh, Linux on the desktop, it's here.
It always was here. I mean, to be honest, I think Linux on a laptop is even worse than on a desktop.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
because so when we talk about notebook or laptop CPUs, they usually do have these weird C states, and most of the Linux distros, they fuck around with them, and you need to change things in the kernel or other parts, and then yeah, out of a sudden things go wrong and you draw way much power than before. Yeah, Edu is
How's
running, it's not that
the
bad. Everything works out of the box. That's for sure, yeah.
how's the trackpad now? Have they gotten that figured out? I feel like last time I loaded Linux on a laptop, the trackpad was just unusable.
I think it depends. You're a Mac user, probably you have like a MacBook, so you're
Yeah.
used to that. It definitely feels different on any Windows laptop that you're gonna try. But I mean, my trackpads, they work like a charm, and I never used Mac, so I cannot compare it to a Mac.
So maybe I'm just jaded by the absolutely amazing trackpad on Apple's hardware.
I'm my primary thing why I always refuse the Mac ecosystem is like, the heck, I don't want to close my window pressing X on the left side of a window. X needs to be on the right hand side. Like, what the heck? And then I figured out if you press that X on your Mac, it's not even closing the window, it's just minimizing it. Like, what the heck?
No. The X closes it. You're clicking the yellow one. That minimizes it.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't click any of those buttons. There's commands
I need to
for
be
it.
honest.
There's
I'm
keyboard
too
commands.
uneducated when it comes to the Mac ecosystem. The only thing that I use out of that is an iPhone, but yeah, there's just a personal issue that I do have some brain rot of myself.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's going to be fine.
It doesn't kill the process in most programs, just the active window. OS X users use file quit to command plus Q. Okay, so
That is always so weird to me. Like on Windows and Linux too. Like if I close the window, I don't want to quit the program. If I wanted to quit the program, I would use Command Q. It always trips me up, but again, it's just because I've always used Macs.
See, but then I was right. If you press the X, it is just closing the window, but it's not killing the process.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the heck, if I click on that X, I want to kill the freaking process. Like, why is it not doing that?
I mean, what if you have an app that has multiple windows? I mean, you have to like close all of them?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, this is an unsolved problem as to which is the best OS, right? There's lots of debates.
As long as everybody can develop on ESP Miner and on KiCad, everything is fine.
Next thing you'll try and tell me is that VI is a good text editor.
Well, have you ever tried NeoVim? Have you ever tried it? You can do quite a lot of things with it.
Yeah, I'm sure you can if you can figure out how to
Nebula
quit
is probably loving Vim. I bet that.
Oh yeah, he seems like
he looks
at it. He's like, oh yeah, VI.
Now we're getting nerdy here.
Vim.
No NeoVim. Oh, I'm sorry, Nebula. I wasn't trying to offend you here.
Oh man, you've seen that like Stack Exchange post that has like 1 million views as like, how do I quit VI?
Yes, I've probably seen that. It's hilarious.
It's easy. You just press escape:*Q! Like it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, right. Like it's like,
that's
wow.
totally,
I want to tell you something. Now I give you the prerequisite for the command that I want to tell you. Now I give you the command, and last but not least, I give you the exclamation mark because I want to process that. It makes freaking sense.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's so standard. Lots of other programs use that.
Well, how did the town hall turn into that kind of nerdy talk?
Oh man, we went real nerdcore there.
To be honest, there are not really that much topics. If you guys in the audience have any questions, feel free to ask them. Like I usually nowadays forget to tell you that, but these town halls are basically bi-weekly to talk about BItaxe, talk about issues or whatever is going on, and answer any questions. Because this is a ask us or ask me anything.
Well, I guess I have some other news that we
Tell
can
us.
talk about related to OSMU. We have a new admin member, a new administrator of OSMU. Pretty exciting. Econo Alchemist is joining us as an OSMU admin. Yeah, this is very exciting. He is joining the both of us and Sir Vapes and Ben as our 5th admin member. And Eco is one of the founders of the 256 Foundation, which has very aligned goals, I would say, with OSMU to sort of promote free and open source Bitcoin mining and to dismantle the proprietary mining empire. So we're very much aligned there. Eco's a solid dude, works very hard in this realm, full time in this realm. So it's a natural fit, and we're hoping to unify these communities and basically do better, more, faster.
Hopefully, yeah, that's the goal here.
Yeah, pretty excited to have Eco on board. I was excited. Yeah, he just I guess I just added him. I think it was yesterday, but looking forward to working more with Eco and what we can get done here. Duncan just showed up.
Maybe
What's
in
up,
the
dude?
next town hall. Did he?
Duncan just showed up. He says, "Wow, I'm really late."
Yeah,
yes,
he
you were
is
very
very late. We are getting close to closing this session today of the BItaxe Townhall. But what I wanted to say is maybe Eco will join us next time on the town hall. I don't know. He's probably not used to the town hall and the time it is happening, etc., etc. So we'll see. But yeah, he's
we should get him roped into one of these. I think that'd be a good idea. He'll probably be down. For those who don't know, Eco and I and Rod and Tyler Stevens do a weekly podcast, the Pod 256. So if you want to, do your due diligence on Eco, you can go back and listen to some of those. But we should definitely get him to join us here. That'd be awesome.
For sure, yeah. All right. Probably some late news here. I don't think there's anything else to add. I'd say, looking into the chat, it is your stage, Scott. You can give your dose of shoutouts, and then we're gonna end the session.
All right, let's do it. We got 12 people that are remaining here. Animal with a 1, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Badger, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. Tommy G from IX Tech, good to see you. You guys are always doing some rad BItaxe projects. One of the legit list sellers. I appreciate you out there, supporting open source Bitcoin mining, selling cool hardware, BitAxes, Nerd QAxes, made some cool heat sinks. I think I saw on Twitter that you guys are doing a new project with to do like a desktop display dashboard kind of thing with ePaper. I think it was. I think that's gonna be pretty neat. Playing with this hardware stuff is always pretty fun. EDU, is it Edu or EDU? I don't know. Who knows? Good to see you. He's typing. He's going to tell me. It doesn't matter really. All right, let's go with EDU. Good to see you, buddy.
We still need to take a look on his app that he's building. I still need to review that. Need to say that here.
Yes, it's like this double-edged sword. Like I love all this contribution from people on all these rad projects. It's amazing to see what people are coming up with. The sort of downside is just like, man, there's so many cool things that I unfortunately do not get to checking them all out. I would like to, as evidenced by this year-old BTC clock on my desk. It takes a while to get to everything, but I do want to check it out. That's badass. Next up, Nebula Miner, obviously a legend. If you don't know Nebula Miner, you should. The dude is absolutely a legend. Probably one of my first collaborators on the BItaxe. Cool to see you working on the low-level details of these chips, figuring this stuff out, hacking. I've seen some cool work that you've been working on later. I'll let you announce that. But yeah, anyways, the dude's awesome. Always working on good stuff. I'm sure we're going to see a lot more cool stuff come from Nebula. That's for sure. K1 needs no introduction. Obviously a badass. Also a total legend. I don't know how you have enough hours in the day to do everything you do, but it's badass. It's much appreciated. He and I work, well, we discuss a lot of these things constantly every day, technical details, a lot of hardware stuff, and it's always much appreciated to have your input. Thanks for joining us here today. And I'm sure that we will move exclusively to Rust very soon. TM. Right? Wonku, you back me up on that. We're going Rust, right? 100%.
Sorry, I'm out.
What? Okay. I think Wonku said yes, he agrees we're totally going full on Rust. Sounds like a good idea to me. K1 made this rad firmware. For those of you who don't know, it's called BItaxe Raw. It's a Rust base, obviously, firmware that you can load on your BItaxe, and it provides you essentially raw access to Serial and I2C on your board. And so you can start, playing around with Python or Rust on your desktop over USB. And it's a good way to try and reverse engineer these chips, to try and, try different things. It's a lot faster than modifying ESP miner. So I've been getting a lot of use out of that in different projects for checking things. It's pretty cool. That's on the BItaxe.org GitHub repo, but I'm definitely loving BItaxe Raw. Thanks for that. Duncan, you missed a absolutely banger episode. We were talking about you the whole time, and all good things. We were singing your praises. Duncan makes rad stuff. Too bad he just didn't join earlier and didn't get to hear. You'll be listening back. Okay. Yeah, you can listen back. Let us know what your favorite text editor is, please. Oh, he's cooking BBQ. All right, here's a good excuse. Frisbee, I don't think I've ever seen you here before, but welcome. Good to have you. Your icon is kind of scaring me a little bit, but that's all right. That's cool. We got to push the limits here. Notepad. He likes Notepad. What? Duncan just said he likes Notepad. Notepad. Okay. Bitcoin Kendall, what is up? Good to see you. I appreciate your comment about me soldering with the toaster oven. I really like soldering with the toaster oven, or reflowing rather with the toaster oven. It is the way. Good to see you. Hopefully I'm going to run into you at one of these Bitcoin events one of these days. It'd be awesome to catch up. Unity, what's up? Good to see you. Developer Algo, also a legend. Thanks for joining us, buddy. I know you're working on some awesome stuff, some legendary pick and place builds. It's good to see. It's good to see what you're working on. You should actually post more of what you're working on in the public channels so everyone else can see. I think they would like it as well. All right, he's keeping up. This is good. Developer Algo is a legend. I think he was the first. I think he was the first person to sell BitAxes that he manufactured way
He
back in
was,
the
yeah.
day. Yeah, yeah.
The
Good
very
stuff.
first manufacturer and seller, yeah.
Yeah, first
I
one. That was
purchased my
cool.
very first BitX off of him.
Really? There we
Yes.
go. The BitX Max.
Yeah, the BitX Max, the version 1.1 even, I think.
1.1. Yes, the OG. Man, I was talking with Mutaj from the other day, and he was like, where can I get a BitX Max? I want to be testing the firmware on this to make sure it works. And I was like, oh man, I got some of those. Like, I'll send you one. And so then I was looking back, and I'm like, man, I think I only actually have one. And so I sent it to him. So now I don't have any working ones, but he's got it, and he's working on getting it well supported in ESP miners still, which is pretty cool. You think about that's a pretty old BitAxe, and it's still getting some developer love in ESP miner. It's funky. Looking back at those old ones, it's it's like a prehistoric design now. We've come a long way from those. It has like, I'm sure developer Argo knows this, but it didn't have like a barrel jack for power. I just put on these like spade connectors. So you had to kind of wire up your own power connector. It was very,
I have
very
one
primitive.
laying right in front of me.
Really? You've got one?
Yeah.
Are you testing ESP miner on it?
I'm building a 10-inch development rack where I can automatically upload all the firmware changes to all models that we do have. So yes.
Nice. Yeah, Nebuliner. The Max doesn't even have USB J tag. That's right. I put on this Tag Connect thing, which is just like a microcontroller developers thing. I remember there was this guy, I forget his name. He was real involved back then, and he was so upset because those Tag Connect cables are really expensive. They're like $30.
I wonder who this was.
Was it you? Were you complaining about it?
Yes. I was shitposting about this damn connector every single day.
Yeah. Sorry about that. It's gotten a lot better. So this is kind of funny. So when I was talking with Nebula about sending him this BitAxe Max, I was like, man, like I only have one. I should build up a new one. And then I'm like looking at the KiCad files. I'm like, this is so busted. Like I really should change it. So I actually did. I made a new version of the Max that has USB J tag, that has, everything upgraded. But then I was like, wait, I don't have time for this. And so I just sent him mine. But, we could release a new modern version of the Max, I guess. It's just, just one more project to maintain, I guess.
Yeah, well, one of the biggest issues with the Beam 1397 chip is, and now we're getting away from doing the closing of this session, but one of the major issues with that is you have like 50 to 70% of all these chips do have this aluminium top or this soldered top, which is so weird, especially if we want to attach a heatsink to it, because you need to clean it. It's super dirty. I had the issues with the nerd NOS, like, yeah, it's a mess, the Beam 1397.
Oh, those were crazy days. People were like sanding the tops of the chips. Like I got a bag of really cheap BM 1397s off AliExpress, and they're used, and they clearly sanded the tops off on all of them. It's just so weird. Like I just don't want to mess with those. All right. Last up on my list, HexFox. Good to see you. Good to see you. I appreciate you putting the clear English spelling of your name in there. That helps. That helps a lot. But I appreciate all your contributions to OSMU, BitX. This is good stuff. You have been a constant force in the Discord chat, and it's much appreciated. So appreciate all your support, all your work. Good stuff.
All right.
Yeah, that's everyone. thank you all for being here. Thanks for joining us.
With that, I'd like to thank everybody for joining in here, for everybody who's listening to this later on and made it to the very end. Make sure to check out osmu.xyz as well as the wiki, which you can find under osmu.wiki if you want to know more a little bit about all the projects that we do have. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for everybody who was in the audience. And Scott, you wanted to say something?
If you're not German, we call it a wiki.
It's a wiki.
Wiki, like with a W.
Yeah, wiki.
You said Vicky.
No. Oh my goodness. Guys, it's over. Thanks for being here. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.